Zone 2 is a scam. Oh my God, coach, what are you talking about? Look, you really want to believe that because the internet is telling you so. Think about this. You want to ride fast because you haven't got much time to train. You go out in a group ride and everybody wants you to ride faster. You upload a ride to Strava and you look and go, everybody's much quicker than me. I need to ride fast because you find it really hard to take in external pieces of information because you're internally driven by your ego. You're a warrior. So if I was to ask you to subscribe to this channel, because 50% of people who watch the videos haven't, and if you don't subscribe, switch off now. I'm not going to give you the information because you can't take the common decency just to put your finger on the like button. I like this. Yeah, I'm going to subscribe. I'll get more of it. Okay, the first thing is you're internally driven because you're a warrior. You're ego driven. No pain, no gain. You'll sit down at family dinners. People will talk about their work and you'll tell them stories about how you rode in the snow with no gloves on. You rode with 17mm tyres. You rode with nails in a saddle. Modern bikes, oh, they're useless. Well, they're not, because you've got one, but you're ego-driven. You are a warrior. You like nothing more than a 10% hill into a headwind in the pissing rain. Yeah. So you find it hard to go slow, because when you go on your bike, you associate it with bike fitness, being able to go fast, but that's wrong. Zone 2 is about life. Zone 2 is about the oxidation, okay, of your fuel system, your metabolic response, whatever we want to call it. Now you can go and join my cycling base camp group. The link's floating around somewhere. I've got more time there to spend with you and I'll go into the science more and I'll prove to you that it works, okay? But the term Zone 2 is confusing, isn't it? It sounds like some Gen Z, non-binary, fucking XYZ. It's just plain name, so you can't make that warrior connection. Imagine it was called the Gold Zone, the Warrior Zone, the Sex Zone. You'd pay attention to it then, because off the bike, how productive are you? Zone 2 training is about the physiological development of your capillary network, your cardiovascular fitness, your supply of fucking oxygen. That oxygen supply never finishes, and you've got to understand that. That's life. So you're not training 12 weeks for an event. Hey, I've got a big mountain to climb over, coach, in 12 weeks. You're training for life. And life stops when your heartbeat stops, and then you're 6 feet underground, or your ashes are floating on the most beautiful mountaintop, or you've got some wank chop family and they're in a shoebox under your bed for the next 20 years. You choose. Look, the science of mitochondria is there. You can find it on the internet, and you need to understand that the mitochondria is life. It's the power plant. It's the nuclear power plant of your cell. And you need to understand that when you're out on your bike, the best way to develop it is by allowing it to use as much fat as possible, okay? Now in the base camp group, I go into it in much more detail, give you the fundamentals. Hey, but we've only got a short amount of time here because you've got a brain like a Springer Spaniel, okay? It's got the attention span of about 7 seconds. We need to get out on the bike because these 2 drills, oh, only if you've subscribed. Piss off if you haven't. Come on, you know, got to be fair. Right, what helmet are we going to wear? Let's get the game changer. Aerodynamic. Yeah, right, okay. Anyway, 2 drills. Let's go, let's get out on the bike. You'll love these, okay? And I'll share some tips now outside. The first thing I want you to do, take your cycling computer and you're going to create a screen whereby you've just got the time of the day and then you can add distance. That's all. You can have power, heart rate, speed, you can have them on some other screens, but don't look at them. And you're going to be dialing in your RPE, your Borg scale, your feel, perceived exertion. Without understanding this, you're going nowhere fast, okay? So it's easy enough after the ride to then analyse and see where your feel got you in terms of your zones that you've already created. Let's get moving, because we're going to face the first challenge very, very quickly. Okay, here we go. Nice big hill. So you've got to remember that listening to your breathing, yeah, focusing on your breathing is the key metric. Now, if I can talk to you, therefore, I'm in VT1. I can have short sentences, I'm not out of breath, so my carbon dioxide levels are not increasing. Remember, what are you training? Mitochondria, coach. Yeah. Some of you can even spell it now. So as I make my way up this hill, I'm not worried about what speed I'm doing. I'm concentrating on the feel, the focus, because when we jump into zone 5, I can use this hill for that VO2 max work. Plenty of time for that speed. So you've got to remember that one of the key aspects of zone 2 is it's at a level that's allowing your mitochondria to use as much fat and as much carbohydrate mix as it can. And for most amateurs, that's around 50%. You may see people talk about fat max, that fat max zone, and that's what they mean. But if you can dial into that within weeks, months, you'll start to see your zone 2 tolerance level go up. You'll start to enjoy that intensity, and you'll actually start to see the longevity of that intensity because you've got more motivation to ride. There's a lot more fun, and that is the difference between someone having a 12-week plan to hit peak fitness or someone having a lifelong plan. That's where I want you, lifelong. So go back after your ride, look at your cycling computer, look at what your heart rate was, look at your power, your speed, see how close you got to those zones that you've already created. You'll bloody surprise yourself. But we're thinking about riding more often. We're thinking about increasing touch points, because every time you caress that mitochondria, you feed it in an environment whereby it can work at its most efficient. You make it more stronger, you make it fitter, and that's life. Fuck, that sounds good. Why is everybody not doing it? Because zone 2 is a scam for the warrior. Come on, you can do it. Let's do it together. I'm nearly at the top of the hill, and I feel fine. Okay, hopefully you can see behind it. I have climbed a hill, yes, and I've managed to control my breathing. Okay, it's that simple. Now, here's the flip side. We have got to make sure that as we're developing our cardiovascular fitness, our zone 2, we're addressing the zone 5. VO2 max development is about the upload and the download of oxygen. It is about the consumption of oxygen at max intensity. So zone 5 works perfectly well with our zone 2 development, and I would have it every week. 1 to 2 workouts. Now with your zone 5 or your VO2 max or 120 to 130% of your FTP that you've created, you only need 20 minutes. That's the maximum time of intervals that you need. I wouldn't go over that, and to start with, I would have you doing 1 of them a week, then build it up to 2. And what I mean by that is as you add your intervals together, don't go over 20 minutes. So I can use this hill and I can do 30 seconds, 40 seconds, hard efforts, have some rest, do it again. Now, the beautiful thing about zone 5, the way to develop it is not about the intensity you put out, it's about the recoveries. So those short little recoveries that you do allow you then to grab more oxygen, because you're developing this with your zone 2, your oxygen pathway. And then the beautiful thing is, yes, you're going to use 100% of carbohydrate for the fueling, but because you've developed your mitochondria so well, they clear the lactate very fast and they reuse it for fuel. So your aerobic system supports your anaerobic system. It's a beautiful partnership. It's the best marriage in training. So you can play around with the other zones when you're out on your group ride, when you're out on those coffee easy rides and you're breathing out your ass as you're trying to get up the hill, but you will recover better because you've got this dialed in focus to at least 80% of your weekly work is in zone 2. Simple. Okay, to get more of these resources, to get the workouts, to get much deeper into zone 2, zone 5 and other zones, and understand even what a zone is, come and join me in my Basecamp group. It's a free community for cyclists just like you. Link is in the description. I'll catch you in the next video. You keep smiling, keep spinning in zone 2 and keep pushing in zone 5. I'll speak to you soon.